everybody. So I decided to do these small videos to explain the basics of Odoo development. Before you start, there are some things you need to know. You should use Linux and Python, of course. And why Linux? Some people think they can start using just Windows. You cannot, because you will need to run Odoo in using the workers mode, and it's a multi-tenant. So let's say it runs one process per each HTTP process that is going to be requested. So it's a worker, and that needs to be spawned on the operating system level. You can only do that run in worker mode. If you're running in Linux, you cannot do it in Windows. So you have other options. You can just maybe set up a VirtualBox and run inside your own laptop, or you can maybe create a dual boot, or just set up the full laptop using Linux. So these are the options. Now with Python, you don't need, I wouldn't say you need to be to start development, normal custom modules. You don't need to be very proficient in Python. Odoo has a framework that hides some of the complexities, so you just need to know how to code some functions, some methods, and that will be okay for you when you start, at least. But there are some basic things that normally confuse people. So Python, you will need, of course, like any language, a package manager. The package manager, it's a tool that bundles all the libraries with the specific versions that you need in a place. So in a Python, there are several options. I use virtual environment. I would say that's the most frequent package manager, and if you run it, then you are able to store those libraries for different projects in different folders. So for one project you might need one version of a specific library, and for other project you need a different version and maybe other libraries than the other project. So that's why you need to have a package manager. If you're running several projects, for sure you will need to use virtual environment. So how to do it? It's very simple. Right here I'm running on Ubuntu, so first thing is to install it. I'll just call out the command. So this is the command. We are using Python 3 for version 11, 12 and 13. 10 and prior to that, always Python 2.7. So right now you have virtual environment set up. So you can now create a virtual environment. So you just do virtual env and then say Python equals Python 3, and then we define where we want it. So let's say in this same folder, let's call it venv1. Okay, we do that. It's going to set up this folder for us and the default libraries, and now we need to activate it. So we just do source or just dot source venv and then bin and activate. Okay, now the prompt has changed to venv, and we can start by installing our libraries. So we'll do pip, let me get the command. So it's this one, pip install, it was too fast, but well, it's pip install -r, and then I'm giving the path of the requirements text file, which is on the Odoo server, the core server. So now it's installing all the libraries that we need. Of course, some of the libraries you might require to have compiled libraries, so you might need to use sudo because you have compiled libraries. But in my case, since I already have them all set up, it's just easy to start, right? Now, if I do a pip freeze, it's going to show the list of all libraries that I'm using. Okay, so now if I don't want to use this one, I will just run deactivate. As you see, it's gone now from the prompt. I don't see it anymore. If I do a pip freeze, probably it's going to show a list of several libraries that I have on my local. That's why it's taking so much time. But they are different from the one that I have on that virtual environment. So that's what you need to get started. So now if I do a source, just to show you, I activate it. Now I'm able to run Odoo directly. So if I Odoo dash bin, okay, that's the command, dash bin, this one is the command. So I'm just going to pass help, and it's going to show all the options. So these are the multiprocessing options that I told you about. When you specify workers, you will need to be running on some Unix machine, right? Well, that's the basics of setting up Odoo. Of course, there are lots of tutorials you can find on the net with a list of libraries you need to set up on your system, but I'm explaining them in a way that is possible to understand the concepts. That's it. Thank you. See you next video.